Before we run down some of the picks, your picks compared to what we actually saw, what motivated this piece?
You know, it really started, we were just talking about this year's draft class. The rookies have been a little disappointing in 2016, and it just got us going back in the office looking through kind of the drafts of the last few years and had us wondering, man, when was, kind of the last great draft? When was the last time there were a ton of guys taken? And we looked at 2011. I mean, it's a stacked draft year. It just, happened to be shake out in a way that was really surprising. You had guys like Clay and Isaiah Thomas and Tobias Harris going way later than where they'd go now, and that kind of got us thinking, wow, this was a great draft class. All the great players were spread out. How should it have gone down?
All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to take a look at how the 2011 draft went down and then maybe how it should have gone down in your eyes. So the Cavs had the #1 overall pick and took Kyrie Irving, as we know. No reason to change that, right? That should have been the #1 pick.
I disagree. I mean, I think it's obvious that Kawhi had to go #1 in this draft. I mean, he's already won a Finals MVP, which is just ridiculous to think about. I mean, he won it. It's been over 2 years now, and he's gotten just exponentially better as a player since that final series against LeBron and the Heat back in 2014. So, I think the Cavs, if they knew what they knew now, you have to take Kawhi Leonard #1. I mean, what he does on both sides of the court, he's truly a superstar. It's not up for debate. Some people don't want to believe it, but I think Kawhi would have to go #1 if you were selecting those players again today.
Wow. All right. Let's see how far Kyrie Irving falls now that we know that #1 is not going to be Mr. Irving. Let's get to #2, though, right now, as far as Minnesota taking Derrick Williams. Nice kid, good kid. Had a lot of potential, but it just didn't work out, Rohan, there for Williams to the Timberwolves. So if they had a chance to do a second pick over again, who would they take?
It really is a shame, by the way, for Derrick Williams. Shout out Derrick Williams because he's on the Heat now. That's my squad. But I think the Timberwolves, they'd have to take Jimmy Butler. I mean, he's kind of in that same mold as Kawhi. He started out as a defense-first guy, but he's really turned into a true #1 scoring option. And I think you could make the case that Jimmy Butler is kind of the most kind of classic scorer in this draft in terms of, a guy you can give him the ball, clear out, and he'll get you something on offense. And especially early in the season, the Bulls have been struggling of late. But you can make the case that Jimmy Butler's on that fringe MVP conversation. I mean, he's probably been the second best player in the Eastern Conference behind LeBron James early in the season. So I got to go with Jimmy Butler. And if you give the Wolves Jimmy Butler in 2011, you're pairing him with Kevin Love. There are a lot of kind of butterfly effects of a decision like that. So that would have been a really interesting core for them to have.
Oh, you're saying Kevin Love. Well, I'm saying what about Towns and Wiggins and Tibbs? He would be reunited with Tibbs, or I guess it wouldn't be reunited. He'd just be with Tibbs. That would be a nice combo there. Ooh, okay.
Jimmy Butler would probably appreciate, by the way, that he jumped from #30 to
That's
#2,
true.
right?
True.
Yeah, no doubt.
Made a lot more money.
Yeah.